I still shudder at the memory of that summer, a terrifying chapter of my life that refuses to fade. It all started when a group of college friends, high on the euphoria of graduation, decided to escape to a cabin in the woods for our summer vacation. Little did we know that this trip would lead us into a nightmare from which there was no escape. The cabin, nestled deep within a dense forest, was an isolated haven. We thought it would be the perfect place to unwind and celebrate our newfound freedom. There were 5 of us: myself, Sarah, Mike, Lisa, and Tom. We packed our bags with enthusiasm, looking forward to the adventure that awaited us. As we arrived at the cabin, the atmosphere seemed oddly still, a premonition of the horrors to come. The place was rustic, with creaky wooden floors, old furniture, and the faint scent of decay in the air. However, our youthful enthusiasm masked any apprehensions we might have had. The first night was spent in cheerful banter, reminiscing about our college days and toasting to the future. We had enough food, drinks, and games to keep us occupied for weeks. But little did we know that all these mundane comforts would soon be a distant memory. On the second day, after a hearty breakfast, we decided to explore the woods. The dense trees, their branches shrouded in perpetual twilight, loomed above us. The forest had an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves or a distant bird's call. It wasn't long before we realized we were lost, disoriented in this labyrinth of trees. Panic began to set in. Our laughter and jests turned to hushed whispers as the realization of our situation dawned on us. It was as though the woods had conspired to swallow us whole, and our only threat of sanity was each other. Hours passed, and the setting sun signaled the approach of darkness. We decided to make our way back to the cabin, but our efforts were futile. The cabin seemed to have vanished from the landscape, as if the forest itself had shifted its boundaries. Fear was palpable in the air, and our nerves were frayed. Night descended upon us, and with it came an unnerving symphony of howls and cries from creatures we couldn't identify. We huddled together in the cold, dimly lit cabin, its rustic charm now a sinister facade. As the night wore on, our desperation grew. We tried calling for help, but there was no signal. We lit the fireplace for warmth and hoped that dawn would bring us a way out of this living nightmare. However, morning didn't offer the respite we had hoped for. The forest had changed. It had become darker, more menacing. Trees that had stood tall the previous day were now twisted, gnarled, and threatening. There was an oppressive sense of being watched, of being prey in this malevolent wilderness. Our supplies dwindled rapidly, and we were forced to venture out in search of sustenance. It was then that we saw them, dark, shadowy figures moving among the trees. They seemed human, yet their movements were unnatural, like something out of a nightmare. We hurried back to the cabin, our hearts pounding with fear. These creatures, whatever they were not like any forest animals we knew. They were relentless in their pursuit, circling the cabin, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly malevolence. Days turned into weeks, and the situation only grew bleaker. Our food was almost gone, and our hope had dwindled to a feeble ember. We couldn't explain the phenomena we witnessed in those woods, the ever-shifting landscape, the sinister creatures, and the feeling that the forest itself was a living entity, taunting us. One by one, my friends fell victim to the horrors of the woods. Mike disappeared without a trace, and Lisa's sanity unraveled as she claimed to have seen her own doppelganger among the trees. Tom ventured out one fateful night and never returned. Sarah and I were the last survivors, trapped in the cabin, haunted by the specter of an inscrutable, malevolent force. I fear that I am losing my grip on reality, and that writing this may be my last act of defiance against the encroaching darkness. I can hear them now, scratching at the cabin door, whispering in voices that are both familiar and alien. The shadows move closer, and my time is running out. If you find this account, heed my warning, never venture into those woods. They are not as they seem, and the horrors that await are beyond comprehension. Pray that you are never lured into the clutches of the cabin in the woods, for once you enter, escape is an illusion, and your very soul may become a prisoner of the malevolent forest. I can't shake the feeling that my time is running out, that the sinister entities outside the cabin are growing bolder with each passing moment. Sarah and I have tried to fortify our sanctuary as best we can, but it's become painfully evident that there's no true defense against the malevolence that surrounds us. Sarah, once full of life and laughter, has now been reduced to a mere shadow of her former self. Her eyes are haunted, her once rosy cheeks now gaunt and pale. She refuses to speak, her silence a testament to the torment she has endured. I fear that she has seen things, unspeakable horrors that have shattered her mind. The nights are the worst. When darkness falls, the creatures that haunt these woods grow bolder, their taunts and whispers intensifying. They beckon to us, promising release from this nightmare, but we dare not venture outside. The darkness is their domain, and to enter it would surely seal our fate. As I write these words, a strange mark has appeared on my arm, a dark symbol etched into my flesh as if by invisible hands. It throbs with a malevolent energy, and I can't help but feel that it's a curse, a sign of the forest's hold on us. Sarah, too, bears a similar mark, and I can see the fear in her eyes as she gazes upon it. Food and water are scarce, and we ration our supplies with a growing sense of despair. We've tried to make sense of our situation, to find a way out, but it's as if the laws of reality themselves have been rewritten in this accursed place. Time has lost all meaning, and we exist in a perpetual state of dread. I've resolved to document our ordeal in the hopes that someone, somewhere, may someday discover these words and learn of the horrors that befell us. It's a desperate act, a feeble attempt to leave a record of our existence in this nightmarish realm. We can hear them scratching at the cabin door again, their insistent whispers growing louder. The mark on my arm burns with an intensity that is almost unbearable. We know that our time is running out, that the cabin's walls will not hold forever. If you find this account, please heed our warning. Stay far away from the cabin in the woods. The malevolence that dwells here is beyond comprehension, and it hungers for the souls of those who dare to enter. Pray that you never become ensnared in the clutches of this cursed place, for once you cross its threshold, escape is a cruel illusion, and your fate will be sealed in the heart of the relentless forest. My only hope now is that these words survive, a testament to the terror that dwells within the cabin in the woods, a stark reminder that some places are better left unexplored, some secrets better left buried in the depths of the forest, for to uncover them is to invite a darkness that knows no end. As I write this, Sarah and I huddle together in the dimly lit cabin, the last flicker of hope in our eyes. The cabin itself seems to have taken on a life of its own, as if it's become a sentient being, aware of our suffering and torment. The walls groan, the floors shift, and the windows rattle as if in response to the horrors that surround us. Our supplies are nearly exhausted, and the symbols on our arms have grown more pronounced, pulsating with an unnatural energy. I fear they are a mark of our impending doom, a connection to the malevolent forces that now hold us captive. We've tried everything to escape. We've ventured into the woods during daylight, but the forest seems to stretch endlessly in all directions, denying us any sense of direction or escape. It's as if the cabin and the woods conspire to keep us trapped, their power growing stronger with each passing day. Sarah has become increasingly withdrawn, her once vibrant spirit now a fragile shell. She spends hours staring out the cabin's windows, her eyes fixed on something unseen in the darkness. I hear her whispering to herself, her words a jumble of incoherent muttering. The whispers from the creatures outside have taken on a more sinister tone. They no longer promise release but instead threaten us with unspeakable horrors. They speak of a fate worse than death, of being absorbed into the very essence of the forest, becoming one with its malevolence. I fear that Sarah has begun to succumb to these whispers, that she is slowly losing her grip on reality. She refuses to acknowledge my presence, as if she exists in a world apart from my own. I'm left with the crushing weight of isolation, a loneliness that gnaws at my sanity. My last hope is that someone, somewhere, will find this account and understand the horrors we've endured. I can only pray that our suffering will serve as a warning, a deterrent to those who might be tempted to enter the cabin in the woods. Stay far away, for there is no escape from the relentless darkness that dwells here. The mark on my arm has grown painful, its malevolent energy searing through me. I can feel it pulling me towards the cabin's door, as if it's urging me to step outside and embrace the abyss. I know that I must resist, that to venture into the night would be to surrender my soul to the malevolence that hungers for us. As I conclude this account, I can hear Sarah's whispers growing louder, more frantic. The creatures outside are no longer at the door, they are inside the cabin with us, their shadowy forms closing in. The darkness is all-encompassing, and I fear that our time is at an end. If you find these words, please remember our story. Avoid the cabin in the woods at all costs, for it is a place where the boundaries of reality blur, where the malevolence of the forest knows no bounds. Pray that you never become ensnared in the clutches of this cursed place, for once you enter, escape is an unattainable dream, and your soul will be lost to the relentless horrors of the woods. In the depths of that nightmarish cabin, my trembling hands struggle to hold onto the pen, my final connection to the world outside this terrible place. The cabin itself feels like an entity that feeds on our fear and despair, and the walls themselves seem to pulse with malevolence, as if they're closing in on us. I can no longer hear the whispers of the creatures outside, only Sarah's frenzied mutterings that grow louder with each passing moment. Her eyes, once filled with life, now seem to be windows into an abyss of madness. She mumbles of a place beyond the forest, of a darkness that hungers for our very souls. The symbols on our arms throb painfully, as if they're demanding our compliance with the malevolent forces that have ensnared us. I realize that we are losing the battle against this relentless evil, that it's only a matter of time before it claims us. Desperation takes hold, and I consider venturing out into the night, into the heart of the forest, hoping that the creatures will be satisfied and that the torment will end. But the mark on my arm burns with greater intensity, as if warning me of a fate worse than death that awaits those who yield to the forest's darkness. Our food is gone, and the water from the nearby stream is tainted, making us sick. Our strength wanes, and our will to resist weakens with each passing moment. I've tried to calm Sarah, to reassure her that we will find a way out, but my words are empty, and my own faith is fading. In this cabin, time is meaningless. We exist in a perpetual twilight, trapped in a never-ending nightmare. I can no longer distinguish between dreams and reality, as the cabin itself seems to shift and contort, its walls whispering secrets that I can't comprehend. I fear that the malevolent force that haunts this place is growing stronger, that it seeks to absorb us into the very fabric of the forest, to make us one with its unending darkness. I can sense its hunger, its insatiable appetite for our suffering. As I conclude this account, I know that our fate is sealed. The cabin and the forest have become our eternal prison, and we are but the latest victims of their sinister grip. If you find these words, I implore you to heed our warning, never, under any circumstance, approach the cabin in the woods. It is a place where nightmares come to life, where the boundaries of reality blur, and where the malevolence of the forest knows no end. Pray that you are spared from the torment that has befallen us, for to enter this cursed place is to surrender your soul to the relentless horrors of the woods, to become a prisoner of a darkness that offers no escape. We are lost, and our voices have been silenced by the malevolent force that dwells in the heart of the cabin in the woods. I write these final words with trembling hands, for I know that our time in this cursed cabin is drawing to an inevitable close. The walls continue to close in on us, and the relentless whispers of the creatures outside have become a deafening cacophony. Sarah has ceased her mutterings and now stands by the cabin's door, her eyes vacant and hollow. I can no longer reach her, and it's as if she has become one with the malevolent force that surrounds us. As I consider my own fate, I know that escape is impossible. The mark on my arm pulses with a wicked intensity, pulling me towards the door. I can feel the malevolence of the forest beckoning me, its insidious tendrils reaching out to claim me. In a final act of defiance, I resist the pull, using the last of my strength to scratch these words onto the cabin's walls, a testament to the horrors we've endured. My hope is that someone, someday, may find this account and learn of the terror that lurks in the cabin in the woods. I pray that our suffering will serve as a warning, a plea to stay far away from this place. I can hear them now, the creatures, the malevolent forces, closing in on me. The darkness is all-consuming, and I know that my time is at an end. If you find these words, remember our story, and heed our warning. The cabin in the woods is a place where the boundaries of reality blur, where nightmares come to life, and where the malevolence of the forest knows no end. Pray that you are spared from the torment that has befallen us, for to enter this cursed place is to surrender your soul to a relentless darkness that offers no escape. My vision dims, and I can feel the forest's cold embrace as it claims me. Our voices have been silenced, but our story remains, etched into the walls of the cabin in the woods as a testament to the horror that dwells within.